Hello everyone, welcome back to not another episode of This Week in Throws, but another edition of the pre-cap, where we are breaking down and analyzing every result from the 2026 Prefontaine Classic, the one meet on the Diamond League schedule that always demands its own video. Last year we had 6 events on one day, and it was probably the greatest single day of throwing the world has ever seen. This weekend, spread across 2 days, the results were still absolutely incredible. We still got, I think, 3 meet records out of the bunch. No, just 2. 2 meet records out of the bunch, but still an incredible day. This week is going to be a little busy. Audrey and I are flying back from California to Florida this afternoon. And then Wednesday morning, I'm flying up to Memphis for Ed Murphy, where we are also hosting the fourth public edition of the Ryan Krauser's World Shot Put Series. Going to be doing some in-stadium PA for that. So if you're around the Memphis area, come to the meet Friday night. I think there's disc and shot competitions going on. And then stay in town Saturday night and come down to Beale Street to watch the World Shot Put Series, because that is going to be a lot of fun. I believe for those of you that won't be able to get there for the WSPS, I believe Darrell Hill will be on comms on the stream. So you'll still get a good show regardless. Anyway, all of that to say, probably won't be doing a separate, more generalized This Week in Throws this week. The one big throw from around the world that I know I need to talk about, though, Pavel Fidek getting over 82 meters, showing that his 81-89 last week isn't a fluke. That guy is fully back, and as if men's hammer wasn't deep enough, now we need a 5-time world champ looking like he's back at the peak of his powers. So very exciting to see just another excellent name, a historic name, throwing really well to be added into the fields at Europeans and hopefully at World Ultimate Championships. All right, that is enough preamble. Now, let's get into Prefontaine. So the first event of the entire weekend, and with Sidious Mag, partnered with Tracktown USA, we were hosting a live preview show at the Fan Festival, kind of in between Fan Festival and the VIP section. And so this competition completely finished before we even did our preview show. But the men's hammer comp, the same competition where last year Rudy Winkler broke his American record for the first time in 4 years, going 83-16. So Rudy was coming in as the defending champ, but Ethan Katzberg was coming in with a bit of a chip on his shoulder at this meet. He fouls his first, though. I think he threw that one into the cage. Then his second attempt, 83-33, a world lead. And I forgot that, I believe it was down in LA a few weeks ago at the LA Grand Prix, Jan Chosanand had actually taken the world lead from Ethan Katzberg, throwing 82-44 when Ethan's season's best was 82-43. So the difference was 1 centimeter. Now the difference is 89 centimeters. Ethan's just continuing to cement that there is nobody like him in the world. And then his series, fouls in 1 and 6, so bookended with fouls, but 2 through 5, 83-33, 82-73, 80-24, 81-98. Unsurprisingly, the 3 best throws of the competition in that mix. Ethan's incredible. And, last year we were kind of waiting to see this kind of like top level form from him until Worlds. Like, he entered Worlds. I think he wasn't the world leader entering Worlds. I think that might have still been Rudy, or it might have been Ben Salash. But like, Ethan wasn't the world leader going into the World Championships. He had lost a couple times in the middle of the season. And so it just wasn't nearly as dominant as we had seen in 2024. And I just think with the level of the rest of the world this year, like, it's going to be hard. Like, Ethan's not going to be as dominant as he was in 2024, where the gap between him and the next closest thrower was like 3 full meters or something like that. But I don't believe he's lost yet this year. 83-33 is the 4th best mark of his career, behind his 384 meter performances. So yeah, Ethan's absolutely cooking, and he's got 2 big championships this year. I mean, Com Games is pretty much going to be, unless if I'm forgetting someone major, I think Com Games is going to be pretty comfortable for him. I think his biggest competition is going to be his fellow Canadian and stepbrother poser Rowan Hamilton. So Commonwealth Games, like that one's going to be, should be kind of an easy win for him, but that he's got a World Ultimate Championships to peak for, and for an athlete like Ethan, it makes me really excited that Hammer is one of those in the World Ultimates. So I can't wait to see what Ethan's going to do the rest of this year. And this was a really good time because Rudy came to play in his favorite ring in the world. I think now like 5 of the 6 best throws of Rudy's career are at Hayward, including both of his American records. But Rudy hits the season's best, 81.12. That was his only time over 80 on the day, but he also had 79.59 and 78.96. So a really strong day for Rudy as he's kind of continuing to trend in the right direction. And, you know, he told me in LA, he was in pretty heavy training cycle just to kind of start that taper into pre the week after. And so in LA, he threw 79 mid, and he comes out to pre and throws 81. So he delivered on his promises to me. So well done, Rudy. Merlin Hummel takes third, 79.01. Mihailo Kokon, 78.95. Trey Knight, 76.48. That rounds out your top 5 there. The second competition of Friday evening was the women's discus. Val Sion delivers, going 68-64 to win her 5th Prefontaine Classic title. I think it was a little, not necessarily what her and Zeb were looking for, distance-wise at least. I mean, the win is great, especially against this really strong field, where she beats both of the Dutch throwers. Jorinda goes 68-21. We'll talk more about that in a second. And Alita Van Dalen, 65-02. But it's a strong win for Val, but in the press conference, like her and Zeb were talking about how she was like, this is a day that I think I can do something I wouldn't be disappointed in. And we talked about it on the live show, on the Sidious live show. You can go back in the Sidious Mag YouTube channel or podcast feed and listen to our interview with Val. But, you know, I mean, she kind of acknowledged that, like, it's crazy that 68-64 is a distance that, like, she just feels like there's so much left on the table on that one. But yeah, I mean, still just a strong day for Val. It's the same thing I talk about every week, where we just need to kind of be able to acknowledge, yes, Val can throw much further than 68-64, literally seemingly any given week. But also 68-64 is still ridiculously far, as I almost throw my phone. So that's nothing we can ever just kind of shake off, because that mark is pretty crazy. Speaking of pretty crazy, Jorinda's 68-21. Jorinda Van Klinken, by the way, the world silver medalist from last year. That's her best mark ever inside a stadium, the 4th best of her career, behind the 2 competitions in Ramona earlier this year, and then her collegiate record, which she threw down in Tucson back in 2021. So this is great for Jorinda, especially, I know she's, after Ramona, there's been a couple little injury hiccups in her season, I believe, but a mark like this, like, she has been throwing so well, and a mark like this just really kind of solidifies that. I mean, it's the first time she's ever gone over 68 in a stadium, so it's like her best Diamond League or World Championships mark by a pretty significant margin, and so it's, that gap is just, it feels like it's closing. Obviously, like, we know Val can throw 70 in a stadium. She's done that several times before. But that gap just is, it does feel like it's closing. And so maybe there is, like, you know, a lot of people beat Val on the first day in Ramona. But maybe we're nearing a point. It's not like Val's getting worse. Like, if anything, Val just feels like she's getting better and more consistent. But those 2 Dutchies, they're creeping up there. To, I think, really get to a point where they can be challenging Val on a consistent basis, which is really exciting. I think that's what a lot of people have kind of been hoping for a long time, especially because we know the kind of competitor that Val is and the kind of fire that she brings to every competition. So I'm sure if she feels at all like under threat going into a competition, I'm sure that's something she's just going to thrive off of. So super exciting to see that mark out of Jorinda for a lot of reasons. 65-02 for Alita, not the most consistent series for her. A foul, and then she had 3 at 61 and then a 60-meter throw in her first round. Not the most consistent series for her. Not exactly sure what the last 3 or so weeks have looked like for her past NCAAs, or how big of a kind of training peak that was for her. But, I mean, she's got a big target with Europeans as her and Urinda look to go 1-2, which seems pretty likely when you look at just how consistent and how strong both of them have been all season. So a good mark for Alida in her, I think, second Diamond League behind, she's here in the Paris Diamond League back in 2024. Loggy, 62-39 for fourth, and then Erica Beistel rounds it out, 61-32 for fifth. So if you're keeping track of a U.S. championships field here, Val, Loggy, and Erica made up the top 3 there. Tough day for Sierra Jackson as the foul bug comes back to bite her a little bit. She no marks in this one, but given just how she's been throwing this year, it feels like this is an anomaly type of performance compared to the kind of typical form we've seen out of her, which, after how much this would not seem like an anomaly last year, is a really good thing that she's moving in the right direction. So we'll just see how she can move on from this one. On to Saturday now, and just like we started with the men's hammer on Friday night, we started with the women's hammer Saturday afternoon. Insane field in this one. Basically, the only way this field could have been better is with the 2 Finns, and if Brooke Anderson's shoulder was healthy. Still wishing Brooke a very speedy recovery as she comes back from that injury. But, I mean, this field was insane, and this field delivered, because Cameron Rogers, on her first throw, 77-81, was leading basically the entire competition all the way up until, I think, the second to last throw of the competition. And then in round 6, with only this athlete and Cameron Rogers left to throw, Zhang Jiali, the world junior record holder, the world bronze medalist from last year, 77-94. Incredible mark. A PB for her. I mean, her PB coming into this one was 77-24. So this is a 70-centimeter PB for Zhang, as I now go and check where 77-94 puts her on the all-time list. I wonder if Zhang Jiali and Yan Ziyi are friends, because it really feels like they should be. Oh, okay. That puts Zhang Jiali at number 10 in world history. So now, active throwers inside the top 10 in world history in the women's hammer. Number 1, Anita Wlodarczyk. Number 2, Cameron Rogers. Number 3, Deanna Price. Number 4, Brooke Anderson. Number 6, Rachel Richardson. Number 8, Zhao Ji. Number 9, Janae Casnavoid. And number 10, Zhang Jiali. 8 of the 10 best women in the history of the women's hammer throw are actively competing right now and compete against each other very, very frequently. That's so cool. And for Zhang, I mean, I kind of jokingly asked if, like, I wonder if her and Yan Ziyi are friends, because obviously the comparisons there are just so great between 2 Chinese teenagers, world junior record holders, incredible on the international stage as junior athletes. It just makes me wonder. I also do feel kind of bad for Zhang, because, like, she literally won a senior medal last year at the World Championships. Obviously, do I think Yan Ziyi would have done the same if she had the opportunity to? Quite possibly. But I do feel like the greatness of Yan and all of the acclaim that she gets, which is so well-deserved, I feel like that can kind of overshadow how good Zhang Jiali is too. And so my job is to appreciate both of them equally, because they're insane, and they have so many more insane years ahead of them, and I cannot wait to just sit here and watch. For Cameron, 77-81, she started the season too well for her own good, because now anything other than 80 is like, oh man, Cam, what are you doing? I mean, her last couple competitions have been like, I think 76 something, LA Grand Prix, and then an easy 76 to win Canadian Championships, and now almost 78 here. I mean, that's a crazy far mark. Like, there's still, I think, 11 or 12 women in history that have thrown further than that. But just the standard she set and the hype she was building early in the season makes this one, realistically, when you think about kind of, come out, start the season hot, but then kind of dip into heavier training throughout the middle of the summer as she's got Commonwealths that she's building up towards at the end of the month. Pre was probably a decent target for her and Mo, which is maybe why this one was a little more impressive of a mark, including the competition factor as well than what we saw either in LA or at Canadian Championships. But yeah, it's the same thing I talked about with Val, kind of, where like 77.81 is still insane. And the fact that we can like genuinely be kind of like, oh shucks, Cam, what are you doing? Only 77.81. That's insane. That is truly ridiculous. Deanna Price, 76.95, takes third. Really good day for Deanna with a pair of throws over 76. And I just had such a great time catching up with Deanna in the mix zone, as I'm sure most people watching this know, or anyone who has ever interacted with her know. Genuinely one of the nicest people ever. Her versus Cameron Rogers in a nice person off would go crazy. But yeah, love Deanna, love to see her throwing this well. Knowing there's still kind of, I talked with her about it in Tokyo last year about how she just kind of had to drop a lot of weight for like pretty legitimate health concerns last year. And so just kind of adjusting to that and adjusting to throwing in her new body, which is, I think she said she was lighter than she had been since like, it was the lightest she had been since like her freshman year of college maybe. And just overhearing in another interview she was doing in the mix zone, I know that's kind of also a factor in this year. So the fact that she still is throwing this well while still kind of trying to deal with that is pretty insane. Zhao Ji, 75.63 for fifth, and Rachel Richardson, 76.18 for fourth. I don't know why I put those two out of order. For Rachel, it's so good to see this one because she no marks in LA, which, given what happened last year, puts a little fear in your heart. But then she comes out and is kind of shaky to start this one. 70.53, and then fouls, and then 71.35 through the first three rounds. But then she's able to pull it together, 76.18 in 5, 75.40 in round 6. So Rachel effectively exercises the demons from last year, doesn't let that start to become a trend that kind of begins to plague her throughout the rest of the season. So really good to see this bounce back from her. Annette, 74.57 for sixth, continues to just throw so well this year. And I know my guy Dan McQuaid was in the mix zone. I know he got a really good interview with Annette, so you guys should go check that out on McThrows on Instagram. Anita Vladarchuk, a season's best for the world record holder at 73.20. Erin Reese, 71.65, a solid day for her at pre. And another season's best for Janae Casanovoid, 70.65, with 2 throws over 70, even though she only got 3 throws in the series. So top to bottom, this competition was really good. I don't think it reset any best marks for place like we saw in LA or in Texas, but still incredible marks and an incredible finish as well. That Zhang getting ahead of Cam in round 6, and then Cam comes up a little bit. What was Cam's 6th round throw? 77.52. So comes up about a little. I'm being photographed right now by Audrey as I'm filming. Comes up a little short, 77.52. So there was some drama in this one, which was incredible. Really fun comp. Really fun comp. Now, after women's hammer started the day, now we move to women's shot put, where this one, Chase Jackson got me a little stressed. Because Friday afternoon, she shows up to the press conference with a big old wrap on her right elbow. And I told her, after the press conference, I went out and I talked to her and I go, Chase, Ryan, and Peyton have me traumatized about elbows right now. Are you okay? And she was basically like, yeah. She was okay. It's a little not great, a little painful, but mostly precautionary. And so I was like, okay, that was a little bit of sigh of relief, but then I'm like, how much can I trust this? I need to see how you throw tomorrow. And I think I can trust Chase. 20.56, she takes the win here on her first throw. 20.34, 20.28, and then 3 really strong 19-meter marks as well in the series. Every throw legal. great day for Chase. Just continuing a series of great days. I mean, I think she's been over 2050, I think 4 meets in a row now, or she might have had one in like the mid to high 2040s. But Chase is throwing really well. It feels like only a matter of time before she starts really getting into those deeper 20-meter marks. And it was really funny kind of banter in the press conference because it was just like a women's field press conference. And so it was Tara Davis-Woodall and Larissa Iapicino who went 1-2 in the women's long jump on Saturday. Incredible comp there with 3 women over 7 meters. And then you had Chase Jackson and Jessica Schilder. And the banter just between Chase and Jessica, basically this whole press conference is on the Citius Mag YouTube channel if you guys want to go check that out. It's basically a Chase Jackson comedy hour. Because Chase is like, I wanted to throw 21 and then someone else did. I forget what her name was, but someone threw 21. And then Jessica was talking and Chase was like, how's your hand? And then Jessica was like, how's your elbow? And then Chase got really butthurt about that. It was a great time. That women shot putters, I mean, just any throwers are great, but women shot putters are really, really funny. But so Chase, I feel like she's just creeping towards those bigger and bigger marks, really building consistency at what are still really strong marks. I mean, a mark in the 2050s pretty much wins you any world championship of the last 2 decades. So really, really strong day for Chase. Jessica Schilder, 2011, her only 20-meter mark on the day, but a solid day for her. Fani Roos takes third, beating out Sarah Mitten for that third spot on the podium and gets a 6th-round throw. But it's her third throw, 1970, a PB for her. And for Fani, that made me really excited because I kind of felt bad for her this year, where last year she has such an incredible season, kind of like breakthrough. I think she was 30 last year. Breakthrough, PBs so many times, Swedish records so many times, throws really well at Worlds. And then Axelina Johansson just comes out and kind of dominates. And it's the same thing I was talking about with Zhang Jiali and Yan Ziyi, where they're both really incredible throwers, but it feels like when you have a thrower of the same nature, for those two, for the 2 Chinese athletes, it's like you're in the same country, you're both world U20 record holders, you're both the best junior throwers in that event we've ever seen. Whereas for Fani and Axelina, it's literally they do the same event, and they're just passing national records back and forth. It felt like Fani's season got a little bit overshadowed by how incredible Axelina has been this year. And Fani hasn't had the best start to 2026, at least outdoors, the same way she had last year. So I'm really hoping this can be kind of a step in the right direction. I mean, what was her PB before? 1966. So a 4-centimeter PB, 25-centimeter season's best for Fani. And it's interesting that now we kind of a chase to the first Swede over 20 meters potentially. Is that's just another kind of interesting layer to tint her competitions between her and Axelina with. Sarah Mitten, 1961, takes 4th. Emisi Mabry, 1914 for 5th. But then a very interesting result in 6th, Jorinda van Klinken, 1906. Jorinda just threw 68.21 and 1906. There's like a weed whacker going on, like one house down from me right now, so I don't know how loud that is. I apologize if it's very loud and annoying. It's kind of annoying me. But Jorinda, basically 17 hours apart, goes 68 and 19. That's incredible. It's such a big win for the Jorinda should be doubling fan club. It's such a big loss for the Jorinda should only throw discus loser club. Because clearly this year she's finally proving that they do complement each other well, at least for her. They don't draw back from one another. I mean, she's over 19, I think 2 competitions in a row now, which is something she had never done before in her career. So she's throwing shot better than she ever has. And to pick up 2nd and 6th in a Diamond League, that is really, really, really good from Jorinda. What did her series look like? 1865 was her 2nd best mark. So the 1906, definitely the clear best one on the day, but super strong for Jorinda. And as someone who's always been in the of the belief that you're into should always be doubling. Big win. Last kind of shout out here in this field, Maddie Wesche opened her. She's from New Zealand, so like her outdoor season started in March. But Maddie opens her normal country outdoor season, 1771 for 10th. So, in the same circle that she PB'd in last year, not the best result for her, but I assume there's probably a reason why she hasn't opened her season yet up until this point. So 1771, great starting point. We'll see where she can get to as Com Games approaches. Now, I believe men's discus will be the next one on the schedule. And this field, insane. 10-man field, 8 nations represented, 8 national record holders in the field. You have, you had 2 Olympic champions, Daniel Stahl and Roger Stona, 2 world champions in Daniel Stahl and Christian Che, the world record holder in Mikolas Alekna, an unbelievable amount of world medalists when you add in Maddie Denny and Alex Rose, Ralford Mullings, a 2-time NCAA champion, an American record holder, and Sam Addis. This field was absolutely insane. And the man that comes out on top of it all, wearing an Oregon Ducks kit for the first time in his competitive career, Mikolas Alekna. 71.06, take a bow, Mikolas. He came in, opened at 70.60 a few weeks ago up in Jovi, Estonia, and then just comes out and, 68.81 to open, and then a couple fouls, 69.74 in round 4, which was only in second because Christian Che had thrown 69.94. Che, another incredible day for him. But then in round 5, it's that Alekna kid, 71.06. Let me see, he has the 2 Ramona comps. He has Lithuania last year. He has West Regionals last year, London Diamond League, 2 meets at Cal. I think this is his 8th time over 71 meters. That's an insane number to think about. Big win for Mikolas. He's continuing to prove that he is still the best thrower in the world. The best men's discus thrower in the world, I should say. I talked to him in the mix zone afterwards. First of all, seeing the stash in person, it is quite immaculate. But I talked to him in the mix zone just about like his recovery timeline. And he said, with it being his left pec, that's my right, his left pec, he was able to kind of start throwing pretty soon after, just like with his arm kind of strapped to his side. But like real full throws, he said, started towards the end of May. So it was probably less than a month between his first like real full throws and throwing 70-60 to win a very competitive meet in his season opener. And then less than a month and a half between starting full throws and throwing 71.06 to win the Prefontaine Classic, resetting his own meet record. No, wait, what am I talking about? Why did I think he set that meet record last year? No, he did not. The meet record has been plucked at 71.32, as I talked about in my fact of the day a few days ago. So not a meet record, but maybe given men's history, maybe it is. But just nutty stuff. Mikolas Alekna is so good. He's, I think, the clear favorite for European championships. Christian has thrown so well this year, but he's faced Mikolas twice, and Mikolas has come from behind and beat him twice. So that's a tough pill to swallow for Christian there. Roger, really strong day for him in third, 67.42. Maddie Denny, 66.26 for fourth. He was a little shaken up about it in the mix zone afterwards, but it's pretty, I think it's a testament of just kind of the standard he's at, that 66.26 and fourth in an extremely competitive Diamond League is a day that he can be not super happy with. Alex Rose, fifth, 75.86, really strong day for him. Daniel Stahl over 65, or 65.86. I might have said 75. Alex Rose did not set a world record. I would be freaking out a lot more if that happened. Daniel Stahl, 65.46. Lawrence Okoye, 65.25. Another really, really strong day for Lawrence Okoye. And Sam Mattis does finish ninth here, going 63.31. But as I saw on his Instagram, he forgot to wear his lucky socks. So you can't really blame Sam that much for that. How can you be expected to throw an American record if you don't have your lucky socks on? It's a tough thing to do. So I really hope we see Sam pull up with his lucky socks in New York in a few weeks, or else we could be in trouble. Men's shot was the final competition on the schedule, and right off the bat, Leo Fabbri, 22.74 in round one, a world lead. It's the best throw since he threw 22.98 to win the Diamond League final back in 2024 after the Olympics. This is only the second time I've been at a meet with Leo, because I was at Worlds last year, obviously, and then this one. And Leo is just so funny and so much fun to talk to. I mean, in the press conference, he was just saying he gets kind of hyper fixated on the idea of throwing 23 meters, and so sometimes that kind of messes things up for him. But this one, he comes out, goes 22.74, and then after that, that was his best throw of the day by a very significant margin. I mean, his three other legal throws, 21.50, 21.48, 21.20. So I asked him in the mix zone, I was like, were you thinking about 23 today after that first one? He was like, yes. He was just getting so frustrated. But I mean, he's still got so much time for that to come. And it is just a matter of when, not if. And this is a really strong step in the right direction for him. He's obviously been throwing so well this year. I mean, just this last week, he threw 22.21. He threw 22.50 in January or February down in South Africa. But seeing this this is an incredible caliber of mark. I think there's 9 or 10 guys that have ever thrown 22.74. So really, really strong stuff from Leo. And so I hope he just stops thinking about throwing 23 meters so that it finally happens. Rajinder Campbell continues some excellent form, 22.16 for second. Jordan Geist as well, another really strong day, 21.98 for third. Trip Pippery, who in the same boat as Mikolas Electa, I'm pretty sure Trip had pec surgery in the off season. Not exactly sure when, but some tough sledding for him his first couple of comps this year. But then he comes out here, 21.70, takes fourth. All five of his throws were all legal, all over 21 meters, all over his season's best coming into this one. So definitely a big step in the right direction for Trip. It's so late in the season that for American shot putters, the only really big international comp for them to target would be the Diamond League final, which getting enough points this late in the season to get to that point is probably going to be pretty tough for Trip. But if he can get there, 21.70 at this point in the season, he's got another 2 months to build towards the Diamond League final if he can make his way there, even just some of the later big meets in Europe. I mean, with this form this early, I feel pretty confident Trip gets back over 22 this year, which is something that after the first couple of comps, I'd be like, oh, okay, this probably won't be Trip's year. It's fine. There's nothing really to compete for. He's coming back from an injury. Just don't make anything worse. Don't hurt yourself more. Just take some solid marks and be done with it. But now he's throwing really well. And I hope he's at Ed Murphy this weekend, because that'd be fun, because I'm pretty sure he won there last year. I'm pretty sure he threw 22 there last year. So maybe that Ed Murphy magic is gonna hit him again. Roger Steen, solid day, 21.58 for fifth. Chuck Aniguechi, 21.36 for sixth. And Peyton Arnold down in ninth, 20.55, opening his season. He's been dealing with a lot of elbow injuries. I'm starting to worry that among the Lords of the Rings, there might be some sort of curse upon that barn when it comes to elbow injuries with Peyton and Ryan. But good to see Peyton back in the ring. I unfortunately wasn't able to talk to him, probably because I was talking to some track athletes. But yeah, always good to see Peyton back out in the ring. And so that does it for the 2026 Prefontaine Classic. Like I said, last year set an almost impossibly high standard for what this meet can look like. But man, these were some really far throws still. And it was really fun getting the chance to catch up with a lot of very good people down in the mix zone. So it was fun. Pre was a great one. My first experience there was quite fun. So yeah, like I said, probably won't be a typical This Week in Throws this week, but I hope this suffices and scratches the itch. Like I said, I will be at Ed Murphy. I will be doing in-stadium PA announcing. So if you're at all around the Memphis area, pull up. It'll be a great night of track and field. And then Saturday, we've got a road mile, street pole vault, and the World Shot Put Series down on Beale Street. So it'll be a lot of fun. But that is all I have for you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Follow the Instagram at Paulie Throws, the Twitter at PHoffMahoney. Please rate, review, follow, comment, whatever on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. I think that covers every base. And I will see you guys next time.